Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your first video tutorial. Alright, this is one of many where you're going to be listening to me speaking about whatever it is. It could be notes or it could be a tutorial on just how to do something. Alright, I love doing this again because of the fact that you can pause it at any moment to kind of catch up or do whatever that you need to. Okay? Alright, let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to get your digital notebook and set it up. All right. And again, I want you to start with a digital notebook, but it doesn't mean that you have to do a digital notebook. After you're doing this one, if you feel like, I'd rather write down my notes, that's fine. All right. But I want you to at least try it to see if you like it. Okay. So first thing you're going to do is this. You're going to have to get to my website and you're going to get on the calendar. Right. And this is where you're going to always get all of your assignments. All right, so when you click on this, and I don't think you've done this yet, but when you click on each one of these labs or anything like that, you're going to see a few links that go along with it. And this is where you go to get my assignments. All right, so as of right now, you had to already have clicked on this because you're watching this video tutorial right now. Where you're going to go now is to get the digital notebook template. All right, so instead of just starting with a blank document, I've already created like a little bit of a template where it's filled in a little bit so that you guys can see or start with something that's already been created, and it's kind of structured the way I would like for you to take notes. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to click on the template, and it's going to take you to a blank version of this. All right, and so what you're going to see is the first is the table of contents, and you're going to see that it's partially filled out. Right, we have 6 units, and I basically just put in presentation 1 for each one of these. As you do the notes, as you fill in this digital notebook, this thing is going to get bigger. And I have an example for you. All right, so this is the students from last year, and you can see all the different presentations that they've done, right, all over here. And they're also what's called bookmarked. And what I mean by bookmarked is that because this notebook gets so big, that scrolling through it becomes really difficult, right? So if I wanted to scroll all the way to the bottom, it's going to take me a really long time, as you can see. So instead of scrolling through it, if I bookmark a page, I can go directly. Let's say I want to go to the very last one. I can click on it, and it'll take me directly to the last slide, all right, that I want to go to. So that's what's called bookmarking. I'm not going to show you that right now. I'll show you that a little bit later if you really want to learn how to do that. But this is basically the idea of what it's going to be filled out. Okay? All right, let's go back to your notebook now. All right, so the first thing is you'll notice that it says view only. So right now it's not viewable to you, or it's only viewable, so you can't really write in it. This is my copy. So what we want to first do is we want to make a copy of it. And I think you've done this before in 7th grade and 6th grade. But if you haven't, you go to File right here, and you're going to see that it says Make a Copy. Now, if you can't click on it, like for example, see how some of these are grayed out, right? If it says Make a Copy and I can't click on it, what that means is that you have to you have to log into your Google Drive. All right, that means you haven't logged into Google Drive yet, so you make sure that you've done that. All right, so first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on Make a Copy. All right, so when you click on that, it's going to say, what do you want to name your document? And I am going to, obviously I don't want it to be called Copy Of. And so every assignment that you do for me, this is how I want you to name it. You're always going to type in your last name first, comma, first name. Right? And then you're just going to keep digital notebook because that's the name of the title of the assignment. All right? So I just really want to get rid of Copy Of. And then you're going to press OK. Once you do that, you'll see that you have a full version, and you'll notice that you have more options up here. It's like in the other one, when it was a view only, you only had this much, right? Now that you've made a copy and it's in your inbox now, you have all these things to work with as you go through. All right, now, if you ever mess up the naming system, you can always go back in here and change it. So you're not stuck with it. You can always go in, delete it, or whatever the case may be. All right, so now, with any assignment that you get from me, the first thing that you always do once you make a copy of it is we are going to turn it into me. All right, you're going to share it with me right away. And the reason why we do that is because you will forget. All right, I'm going to say this over and over again at the very beginning. You will always you will forget many, many times if you don't share it right away. So you're going to come up here. It's locked right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to just share it, right? And you're going to notice that it's not shared with anybody at the moment. So what we want to do is we're going to share it with me. If you just type in my last name, my name is going to pop up, right? It's ozeneg@lmsd.org, and you're going to click on my name, right? Now we're going to share it. And the other thing that you're going to notice is it's going to say notify. I'm not sure on yours it's going to say this. If it doesn't say notify people in a check mark, there's an advanced button. I want you to click on that. And it's going to open up this a little bit more. And what I want you to do is I want you to unclick this button. Basically, that notify people means is that anytime something's shared, it's going to send an email. I know you're going to send this to me, so I don't need you to email me to let me know that you're going to share that. All right? So now we're going to press OK. It's going to say, are you sure you want to skip that email portion? I'm going to say, yep, absolutely. And now it's going to say you are the owner, and also it's going to have me on there as well that says I just shared it with you. All right, mine just says this because I'm sharing it with myself, so I don't have more than one in there. All right, so now I'm done and I've shared it with me. I'm good. All right, I've now shared it. I've now made a copy of it. I'm ready to start. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to start my notes right here. Right now, you might have noticed that I skipped this part right here. This is the page 2, which is your progress report. And basically what I do here is every single week, every Friday, I just have you check your grades in PowerSchool. All right? I do that for 2 reasons. One is to make sure that you know what your grade is currently in my class. And the second thing is to check for my mistakes. I make mistakes sometimes in PowerSchool. So if you catch them, then if you check every Friday, you can easily catch my mistakes.
So let's take a look at the template now, okay? So what should be in your notes when you're taking them? So I've kind of already made this little template for you, which is pretty simple to follow. Really all it is whatever slide that you're talking about here, you should put the name of the slide here. And then in the note section, you're going to have a few things, right? You're going to have notes in there typed up. You're going to have diagrams of stuff. And I'm going to let you screenshot those. That's one of the nice things about having a digital notebook is that you're not going to have to draw out all these things. You're going to be able to just screenshot. And I'll talk a little bit more about how I want you to screenshot in a little bit. But the idea is my notes are not just written up stuff. It's also going to point out diagrams and graphs, and those things should be included in your notes. So with that being said, what does that look like when you're taking notes? So I have an example right here of mine of how I would take notes based on the presentation you're going to be given. And what you'll notice is that you'll have the slide title here, and here's the original so you understand what I'm talking about. Right? So here's the original. If you notice, the very first slide looks like this, and when you look at my notebook, it looks like this. Okay? What I did was I typed this up, okay? I understand that it's very easy for you to just go here and take a screenshot of this, but I don't want that, all right? This is still note-taking, and the idea of note-taking is that you should still type up things that are typed up on here, okay? Now, ultimately, if you look at the slides here, your notebook is going to look very similar to this because that's what mine's going to look like. So, but it's up to you how you want to look at that format. But when I go back to this is what it's going to look like. So here's my second slide, right? So if I'm looking at my presentation, right, this is my second slide right here. Looks very similar, right? All right, and then the third slide looks like this, all right? And here's my third slide. It's, again, right, I'm adding to the presentation. So my presentation that you see and what's going into your notebook, it's going to look a little bit different because I'm still saying some words and so on. And so I'm typing up, but again, I'm screenshotting. These are screenshots of my presentation that I'm putting in here, okay? If you don't know how to screenshot, I gave you a piece of paper that shows you how to screenshot here at school using our Google Chromebooks. You'll have to figure out at your home how to use screenshots on your own computer. I know with a Mac, it's Control, I think it's Command, Shift, and the 4 button. that does that. You can ask me questions and I can help you out with that. But this is kind of what it should look like as I'm going through this, okay? Again, it's going to look very similar to the presentation that you see because, right, we're trying to get all that information into our notebook, right? Again, a digital notebook's great for this because I can screenshot these things instead of drawing them out. If you choose to use a written notebook, I do expect that these things will be drawn out. It's not just going to be words because I believe that a complete notebook is a notebook that has diagrams and words, right? Now, here's the thing. Not every slide is going to have a picture. So I don't want you to think that you have to have a picture in there. For example, the very first slide, there was no picture, right? If you look at my presentation, there was no picture in there. So unless you want to put a picture in here, I don't expect that you should put a picture in here. So this is kind of how the notebook should look like. And once you're done with presentation one, I'll show you a few more others. Because if you look down here at the very bottom, I wrote you can modify the table to fit how you want it to look. So if you don't like the way that I have it set up, that's fine. But the very first one, I want you to set it up like this, just because of how it is. But in subsequent presentations, if you have a different format that you would rather use, that's fine. And I'll show you after you do presentation one what some of those other formats can look like. So that way you can choose which one you want. Okay, but this is the setup. Obviously, yours look like this right now. So what I'm going to have you do is you're going to go back to my website and you're going to open up the presentation one and you're going to watch those set of notes. So that way, when you're finished, your notes should look something similar to mine here. All right. Okay, this is the first one done. Good luck.